Welcome everyone to another devlog video, and thanks Shannon Galloway for supporting me on Patreon. So first Monday we took a look at creating the first onboarding screen, and this will simply just open an onboarding screen and you can then press done to close that down. So when we actually create the user, we set the max water per day to 1. So that way in the page container of the init state, we can then check if that user has a max water per day that's equal to 1. So if the user created their account and has max water per day to 1, we are then going to push the replacement of the onboarding page. So as of now, the onboarding page is very simple. We simply have a button which is on press to update the total water per day to 2000, and then just navigating to the root page again. So we can see on the update total water, we're passing in an amount, and then we're updating the user document in Firestore. So for Tuesday, we actually got a bit more into the creation of the onboarding page. So we can see that if we just use the anonymous sign-in and create a new user, we will get this page popping up, and we can then set the total amount of water we want to drink each day. So we're simply going to set that to 3000 and then press start, and we can see that the total water per day is 3000. So now this onboarding page is very similar to the login page in Structure. We can see that we have the app icon, the title, the subtitle, and also the expanded. So inside this expanded, we have a column with an outline button. And if we press that outline button, we will open this custom amount onboarding pop-up. And when that is closed, we're getting the amount, so we can set that state to the selected amount. We also have some text and also our button, which will just update the total water with our state of selected amount. And then when that is updated in the database, we're simply using push replacement for the root page again, so we get to the home page. So the reason for not having an actual showcase of the visual changes was that we most of the time did use refactoring. So the main changes we actually did was just moving some code to its own files and also changing the name of different classes. So one example we had was the auth block, which wasn't actually a block, so we just renamed that to be more consistent to what it actually was, which was just a class, so that was then renamed to auth. And then we just did some minor changes such as overriding the toString method, so we could actually print the classes and get some kind of actual feedback in the console and not just a object. So one thing we had to improve in the dark mode was the actual pop-ups, which didn't actually have the white texts. So that was then improved on, so now we can have a consistent dark and light mode even in the pop-ups. So the problem was actually that we had set a color to the text. So now we just removed that, so we just had the title and then just changed it to bold and then also the font size. And then just removed the different colors that we set. And of course that has to be done in all of the different pop-ups, so this was just an example of one of them. And then we just switched that out on the other pop-ups as well. So for Friday we fixed a bug that would not display the circle to be the right percentage of the actual drinking water. And we also did one big change for how the structure would be for the blocks. So first off, let's move into the blocks. So what we actually did was create a AppBlock class, and we can see that we instantiate all of our blocks inside here in the constructor. Then we also have a init function, and that would just call init on all of our 3 classes. Then we had to, of course, expose 3 getters for the different blocks that we had, and then of course not forgetting the dispose method for all of these 3 as well. So with this change, we can see in the main that we're just having a provider of the AppBlock. And this just lets us provide AppBlock instead of all of the 3 different blocks that we want to use in the application. So an example of usage here is that we're simply using provider of AppBlock, and then we're just passing in the context to then call the different blocks that we want to have. So in this example, we're simply getting the drink block and the user block. So one more thing is that we're actually using a observer here. And the main reason for this is that in this circle water bottom, we wanted the percentage, which came from 2 different blocks or 2 different streams. And that would result in 2 stream builders. And to resolve this, we just used a observable with combine latest 2. And with this, we could set the types. So for example, we had the auto max water, which is a int, and then also a int for the auto drink amount. And then the return value would be a double for the percentage. So we can see that we're setting the names here. And then we're just returning the consumed water divided by max water to get the percentage. So now we can see that we have double for the return value for the observable, and also we set that double in the stream builder. So now we can see that we're just simply using one stream builder to get the percentage return from those two streams. And this is a great way to remove a lot of stream builder boilerplate. So if you're just using two different streams for one single value or for one single widget, you can then use observable and combine that to the different values that you want to. And to fix the percentage for the circle progress painter, we simply just use the animation controller instead of creating our curved animation controller instead. So that would then fix the issue. And for Saturday, we simply made our terms of service and also the privacy policy text clickable. So that would open a dialog for the different values or text that we want to. And we can also see that that is then working in dark mode. And of course, if you have a better way to do this, just let me know in the comments. So what I ended up doing was creating two tap gesture recognizers. One for the terms of service and one for the privacy policy. And what I ended up doing is that in the init state, I would then instantiate that to the tap gesture recognizer. And then the on tap, I would simply call two different methods for them. So what we ended up doing was just replacing the text widget with a rich text. And then of course we can display and customize different parts of the text that we want to. So for the first sentence of the text, we simply just have a normal text, and then we have a style which would then also apply to all of the children. And here we can see the first text span, which has a text of terms of service, and then the recognizer, which we just pass our recognizer. And then the same for the privacy policy, we have the recognizer and just pass that. And both of those have a bold styling. And we can simply see on the methods, we are just displaying a dialog. And in those dialogues, we're just passing a title and description. And then of course, don't forget to dispose the recognizers. And then for the information dialog, it's very simple. We're just displaying the title, and then for the scrollable list text, we're then just displaying the description that we are passing in. And we can see then when we press OK, we're just popping the dialog. Thanks for watching this video, and if you like it, please let me know by liking and subscribing to the channel and also hitting the notification bell. A special thanks again to my patrons for supporting me there, which you can find in the description and also the screen. If you missed the last devlog, be sure to check that out, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!